Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a fabulous day. All right, I want to start off with this picture. Of course, I was notified that there was a package. I go to get it, and it was an official coronation cup. I got all excited. I'm going to drink my coffee out of it. My husband looked it over and said, "No, that's a display cup. Don't touch it. And don't put it in the dishwasher." Oh my God. I love it. Thank you guys. All right. Once again, we have a lot to cover on all fronts. So let's just jump in and get there. To start with, Princess Michael of Kent was seen out and about. She gave an address at the Creative Women's Platform event. She gave the opening address. Very nice. She looks lovely. I'm glad to see that she's still a working royal. Moving on. Next up, King Charles was at the UK Intelligence Security and Cyber Agency, GCHQ, and he got to meet with the staff and get briefed about the work that they do there. They're really big on cybersecurity and keeping the UK safe. Love it. All right, moving on. Next up, Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, went to the Recruits Pass Out Parade at the Wellington Barracks on May 17th. She is the Commander-in-Chief of the First Aid Nursing Yeomanry, and it's the Princess Royal's Volunteer Corps. All right, sticking with Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, she went and visited HMP Pentonville. She wanted to meet the Butler Trust winners and their hidden hero colleagues, and she makes several visits a year apparently. I just think that's really nice. Next up, Princess Anne went to Salford University where she met with the next generation of business leaders, and they are apparently, it's being reported, creating groundbreaking concepts that will be instrumental in supporting the UK's goal of becoming a global hub for innovation. Now, what you may not know, that at Salford University, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, Princess Anne's dad, was the very first chancellor there. And again, while she was there, she got to meet the UK Startup Finals, which I think is super nice. And also, you should know that as of the taping of this, Anne is now in New Brunswick. She's in Canada. I'm going to keep an eye on that for you. Now, already a Scarborough War veteran got to meet Princess Anne because there was an event to mark the 60th anniversary of the end of the national service. The man is 89-year-old Ken Keld. Next up, we have the Duchess of Gloucester. Last week, she officially opened the Queen Elizabeth II Staff COVID Recovery Garden at St. Peter's Hospital. She unveiled a statue that was created specifically for the garden. She toured the facility as well as meeting with the staff. Wow, I wish we had a staff COVID recovery area where I worked. Yeah. All right, moving on now. Next up, Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, held day 2 of the Gold Award celebrations for the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. He gave a speech and he congratulated all the Gold Award winners. Very nice. All right, moving on. All right, moving on to Harry and Meghan. This comment really got my attention because not Tyler Perry, not Oprah, not Ellen DeGeneres, not Beyonce. None of these people have stepped up to make a comment about what happened in New York, obviously for very good reason. But you know who did step up to make a comment? Meeson Harriman, the photographer who also not only takes Harry and Meghan's photos, but takes the headshots for Sister Space, and who knows Marlene personally. Remember I told you guys about that link between the two of them, how when Harry and Meghan were going to get that award and people were making fun of them, suddenly that whole thing happened. But That's the only person, or that was the only person that was sticking his neck out saying, oh, they have babies at home. This is just terrible. Why are people? No, not one other celebrity is sticking their neck out because they know the story is crap. But you know who did stick their neck out? Ashley Hansen, their employee, their press secretary. She's the only other person who's spoken out. All right, you guys, I have to tell you that people are starting to really dial back on this whole car chase thing, okay? The New York Police Department basically said it was hard to believe. The bodyguard for them, now they're saying that the paparazzi went through 15 red lights. But a celebrity news agency said it was Harry and Meghan's SUV that was behaving irrationally. I mean, by Wednesday, Omid Scobie was even dialing back on the things that he said, okay? So listen to what he said when Dan Wooten pointed out, just watch this.
With a hotline to the Duke and Duchess of Delusion. So in light of the unravelling of their truly hysterical claims of a 2-hour near-catastrophic car chase in New York City, which saw them comically end up in a yellow cab with a driver who they didn't know, the couple's unofficial PR was forced to admit their statement wasn't about the facts of what happened, but rather how they felt.
I think it's important to remember that the statements that we get from the mayor, from the NYPD, these are sort of very much about the facts. What we heard from Harry and Meghan's team was also an emotional statement. This was a couple that I understand still this morning was shaken up and just as scared from last night's incident as it was as just after it had happened.
So now people are demanding an investigation by the NYPD. Because people feel like since there's 18,000 police cameras all over New York City, people's personal history about tragedy should not be allowed to cloud the truth. Now, multiple people said, why didn't they pull into the police station and go in? Why didn't they pull into the Carlisle? What's going on here? And then it came out, apparently, according to law enforcement sources, okay? According to the police, Harry and Meghan wanted to stay at the Carlisle. They contacted the hotel, which was a favorite of Princess Diana's. They requested a hefty discount. And when the hotel said no, then they went to a friend's house to stay because they were too cheap to pay for the hotel. Now, guys, we all know what's going on here. He's trying to invoke the memory of Diana. The article started to come out. He said, this is the closest I've ever felt to understanding how Princess Diana died. Really? So was your driver intoxicated? Because hers was. Was your driver doing 90 miles an hour? No, he wasn't, but hers was. But she wasn't wearing her seatbelt. Neither were you. So that's probably about as close to that as you're ever going to get. Constantly with the victim narrative and Diana, he's so damaged his mother's memory. And of course, Omid Scobie came out and started spouting off, you can't think about what happened to them and not think about Diana, he says. Oh no, it's impossible when we hear about car accidents and this kind of paparazzi chase, and I'm surprised to hear from sources that the king has not reached out, and that just shows how bad the relationship is between Harry and the rest of his family. He then goes on to criticize King Charles for not contacting Prince Harry after the chase, which I think is kind of rich. So Omid, who remember just said in court the other day that he is not the Sussex's mouthpiece and he doesn't have a direct line to them, but yet he has all this information. He said that they're quote unquote frustrated with the lack of acknowledgement or contact from the palace after the quote near catastrophic car chase. And it's being said that Harry's very disappointed because he thought that this situation would quote unquote garner some support from his, family, which just goes to show you how out of touch with reality he is. How can you crap on your family for 3 years, insult your brother, insult his wife, insult the way they're raising their kids, say horrible things about your dad and your stepmom, but expect them to reach out to you with support? You all should know that Neil Sean, and thank you to Super Granny for this comment. I checked it out. You were right. Neil Sean has come out today and said that King Charles is actually on top of this and is aware of it. But I said it before and I'll say it again. Why should anybody reach out to them when her dad, who's only 3 hours up the road, who's had 2 heart attacks and a stroke, and she can't be bothered to reach out to him? Yeah. All right. Now, let's get on to some other interesting things about this case. So this article came out. What really happened during their chase? Well, here's what they're saying, what their security is saying. They took a circular route from 23rd Street to 96th Street. They ended up at the 19th precinct, where they then went to a yellow cab, which circled the block and took them back to the 19th precinct. But remember, they never went into the police station. Now, you guys should know that they're saying now that the Sussex Six never said it was a high-speed chase. Once again, it's the media. But that's not true either, because Omid Scobie said that they hit speeds of 80 miles an hour. So that would be a high-speed chase. That's why they're now calling them the Duke and Duchess of Hazzard. Unbelievable. Then Christopher Boozy threw his hat into the ring. And I think this is important because when this whole thing busts out, he's going to be caught right in the middle of it. And he said that there needs to be reform and how the public figures treat the media. Again, he brought up Princess Diana. They're all trying to go off Diana's thing. And he goes, and I condemn the reckless behavior of the paparazzi. A dangerous incident. Blah, blah, blah. And now Harry's UK legal team has talking with a United States legal team, and they're trying to use this footage in the UK court. No, I'm not kidding. Now, I like what Unlikely Bot wrote here. Harry could have released the footage, which would prove their story in just a few seconds, but they haven't done that, and I think they're not doing it because they're holding it back for Netflix. And that's because all the stuff that they used in their Netflix series initially, none of it pertained to them, and they came out looking really, really bad. It's from a Harry Potter premiere and other stuff, and it made them look really stupid, actually. I mean, I got to be honest. So anyway, Backgrid now is saying that Harry and Meghan tried to provoke the paparazzi to chase them, which is a shocking claim to make. Now, Margaret Cross made this comment on my account, and she said that Netflix is releasing the car crash of Diana and that Harry was probably getting footage of his car chase to be included. Now, that's possible because some of the photographers put out a statement. You can freeze the screen and read it for yourself. But he said, we don't waste 2 hours doing anything like that. That this was not a high-speed chase. They went outside to get pictures. If they felt in danger, they could have gone to the police precinct or went into another garage. Now, Prime Minister Sunak had to stay on this. Remember, he's in Japan, I believe it is, at the G7 meeting. Absolutely hilarious. So somebody asked him what he thought about the whole Harry and Meghan claims of near catastrophic car chase in New York. And his response was unbelievable. And this is what he said. Quote, cars in New York are not my priority or my responsibility. What is my priority and responsibility is people's safety at home. My goodness, you guys. I think everybody's over them. Now, a big thank you to Demetris on Twitter for this statement. An absolute must read. I agree. Freeze the screen and read it. This is the statement they should have put out. Now, you all should know that the mayor of New York is now getting multiple complaints. People in New York are upset. They want an investigation. And in fact, there is a group of New Yorkers who's talking about getting together and suing Harry and Meghan. They're saying that New York has bigger problems and safety issues, and Harry and Meghan are using the NYPD for free. They don't represent anybody, and they're upset about the accusations of being chased in New York. New Yorkers are very protective of New York. Some New Yorkers are saying that they were stuck in traffic for hours over the antics of Harry and Meghan. Realizing they might have gone too far, Carolyn Durand, who is the other writer of Finding Freedom, says now that Harry and Meghan want a compromise so they can have a quiet life in California, highlight the issues that are important to them both, and in the meantime, not upset people. Personally, I think it's a little too late for that. You spoon feed people because you want to control the narrative, and it's not working out. All right, let's move on. All right, I have to address this. There were some rumors that Prince Harry might have been cheating. Meghan Markle got very upset, and pictures came out, and every time Harry is seen with Meghan, he's got this dour, unhappy look on his face. And then a photo came out with, I believe that's Nacho's wife, had her arm around his neck and he was smiling. And that really upset Meghan. And she said, "You're not allowed to touch other women when I'm not around." Well, then of course you have comments like this coming out. You know, their marriage behind closed doors probably looks a little miserable because you see pictures like this taken with Harry when he's sitting right next to Meghan, like right next to her. He looks this miserable. And then this article came out. Now we've heard through Teresa Longo and a bunch of other people, we heard that Harry and Meghan were living separate lives. We'd heard that before. Well, let me just tell you, in this article, it says that the owner of a hotel in Montecito confirmed they have a room set aside for Prince Harry that he stays in regularly by himself. Yeah. Now, the article also says that he stays at the San Vicente bungalows alone in LA, and they're just like any other couple 5 years in. I agree with Taz. No, they're not. Couples 5 years in, that's not, yeah, no. I think he's escaping from her. Okay. This person, I don't know if they're a sugar or not, but this really caught my attention because she said, you know, Harry was so worried because his mother was quote unquote murdered because she was with a man of color and the same thing could happen to Meghan. And yet he put her in a New York taxi with no seatbelt. And when she needed to be protected, and instead of putting his arm around her, he's filming. Spot on comment. Maybe the sugars are waking up just a little bit to what's really going on here. All right, you guys. So I was out walking with Finn first thing in the morning. It's so peaceful here with the birds chirping and everything. And so I whipped out my camera. I took a little footage. Here you go. Enjoy. Hi, Finn. For me, I just love the sound of all the birds. Beautiful. A beautiful day God has made today. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Leave those comments below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of uploads. If you've already hit that button, double check, make sure you are still subscribed. Don't forget to go into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, Getter, Rumble, my email address, and a physical address in case there's something you want to send. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund or through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.